Okay, let's open the meeting at 4:03.
Can you tell me who is not here?
Yes.
Not here.
Tim's here,
and here.
And
Howard.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you.
Ken.
Ken.
Mark is with us today via Zoom. And Mark, would you say a few words so I can figure out if we can hear you or not?
Good afternoon. It is September.
Wonderful. Third. Everybody can hear. Very good.
Very good.
Okay, so today Mark Luchtenberger is here. First time he hasn't had to be out of the country in a few months.
Going on Saturday, so, if you're so lucky to have it.
That's true. And we get somebody to do the minutes.
That's right.
How about that? All right. I don't know if we have any announcements today, but we should be looking at the minutes from the last meeting, which were wonderfully helpful.
thanks
And
both
thank
our minute takers. A lot of writing.
Yes, and it was very helpful as I tried to capture everything that we said into the draft that I sent up to everybody today. So everybody's had a chance to look at them. If there's no questions, I'll take a motion to approve.
Second.
I had a.
Yes, I did.
Are we going to talk about that before we approve?
Well, we can, or we can include it as part of, I was going to talk about it during the meeting today.
Well, the only thing that I would change is code red is not discontinued.
Okay, so why don't we add that and get it out of the meeting?
And the rest do later, but that should be.
Yeah.
Let me find out where it is.
Very end, I believe, on it.
It was on towards the end, strategy F. And I had marked that we discussed that.
I don't see it.
Well,
I'll look down here.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember writing it, I didn't have the first one.
Here it is, strategy F. Code red has been replaced by mass communication. Use the term social going.
Do you want me just to delete that sentence?
Okay, yeah.
We'll be done.
Okay.
Brownie Scott.
Bonner.
So do I have a motion to approve with the correction?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Okay, who seconded?
Second.
Okay, today what we have to finish doing is finishing up we're working on the updates to the sustainability plan for our community, our new community action plan, which is due on the 15th. We got through most of it at the last meeting, but we had actually, there's 3 sections now. I thought we could, did everybody get a copy of the update and sent to everybody? I thought we could work right from that today. Just as a little background, these have each strategy listed. I've numbered them to get away from the letters to make it clearer. And in there are the strategies that we discussed. There's top level, and then there is more detail down as we look at this. I'm thinking for Friday and for the selectmen, pretty much if we should be able to use the strategy and each of the numbered top level statements for the meeting. We have a lot of really good detail that we discussed at the meeting last week that will go into, I think, our work plan next year. But I don't know that that is necessary to be in what we sent to the selectmen on Thursday. So based on that, I thought we could go through and just double check what we're sending. And then we have, when we get over to strategy F, G, and H, those are the ones that we need to discuss more, because we didn't get to them at the last meeting. So, I think before we go back and start on A, why don't we move right over to strategy F, which is the social vulnerability piece. And Jay went through and sent us a lot of really good thoughts, I think, about how we should really address socioeconomic equity, which we did not really discuss that much in the last plan. So my thinking is, I'd like to get comments from everybody. If this wouldn't be a new strategy to add to that plan, to that letter. And then she went on to say, under the A, B, and C, we would show the build on and support the work being done in the town by the town community organization at our efforts. We could stop there. We then have a listing underneath of areas that we can focus on as we start working on this.
A comment?
Yeah.
I really appreciated Mark's comment last time to be careful that what we're talking about is within the sustainability. So I don't know if I superseded that. But I just wanted to mention that in case they don't.
I don't know. That's a good topic for discussion. Any comments on that?
Jay, we're sort of thinking perhaps like the town recreation program or something like that. Looking through here, so that's what you're.
Well, Mark can speak to it too, I hope, but I kind of feel like I threw everything into the spaghetti pot. And do we need to list it all here? I think some of it, but maybe not the town recreation.
I guess the question goes back to, is it under our purview? Will we be doing that? Or are we usually just showing these to show the public of the areas that are in town? And whether that's necessary.
Yeah, that would be a possibility rather than under F 1A. Instead of build on and support, you're saying
Publicize?
Yeah. Publicize, make the public aware, or support the effort. Well, except not support. I don't know. We're not going to be doing it. I'm just saying there's a lot that the town's already doing that we should acknowledge. Perhaps.
I think it also
goes back
to
the last meeting
in which Peter said something like he really, in my mind,
captured things.
He said,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I did read that too.
I know. Peter
Peter
encapsulated
encapsulated
the conversation by stating that resilience means having a network of people to help others. And then that plays out during emergencies. So are those things participate in creating this network to help others, which underlies the resiliency component, the social resiliency component that we do. The question is, how nebulous do we get?
We'd have to, I think we should address it in the way that you just defined it.
That Peter doesn't.
Peter paraphrasing.
Yeah. And the storms are a good example of what came into play to help people, or still helping people. Such as. I mean, High is doing a lot. Meals.
Right.
Is that? It's not our purview, but we I try not to use
to support.
we acknowledge
We acknowledge
that work.
that work.
We
We
interweave
interweave
our efforts
our
with
efforts
theirs.
with theirs.
Well, and I
I sort of think it's like
the
the
Conservation
Conservation
Commission
Commission
work that we
talk
talk about.
about.
We're not,
We're not,
we're su-
we're
trying
We're
not
not
to say.
we're not putting any effort per se.
effort per se. Right.
But our
But our
effort
effort is to
advertise
to make people aware of these.
I think
I think that's an important role for the town.
I think you're
I
right.
think you're right, they're going to run by other people,
Yeah.
But making
sure that everyone knows about them is,
And a lot of
and a
people
lot of people don't know about
them,
them, so I think
there's a
there's a real role for the town in that.
How much?
How much?
Can you figure out how to say
Figure out how
that?
to say that?
Well, can we,
Provide
Provide
information.
information, if we already said, provide information and access
through the town
through the town
website.
website.
Oh, yeah.
But
That's for the
that's for the RSC, but I mean, I think
there's
there's specific things we could list that we could
make sure
that we get onto the town website, like this list here is a really good one.
so maybe
So maybe
under
under F
one
1,
six,
6,
or sorry,
B,
B,
1B,
that could be
that could be
a statement,
not
B,
a,
but
not B, but an introductory
Mhm.
statement.
Yes.
Yes,
along with.
along with,
And then
and examples include, yeah,
one
I through
VR.
VR.
Somebody like to
Somebody
take a
like to
stab
take a
at writing
stab
that.
at writing it, that's good.
We don't have to
We
do it
don't have
right
to do it
now,
right now,
but
but
before tomorrow.
before tomorrow.
Who decided? Who said yes? Jay.
And that will be our introduction to addressing socioeconomic equity,
Or just
Or
part
just
A.
part
Or
A.
part A.
Where
Where is the?
1A.
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 I was
I was thinking
B could
B could be
before A.
before A.
Or that's your
Or
intro.
that's your intro, B
Is your intro,
the
then you follow.
default.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's good. But that's where we want it, it's right under that.
I would add a little bit more, I think, Susie, provide info. I think you could take a step further, and not only list here's log, whatever else, here's because hunger, I think you go a step further and give a general instructions about how to go in. A lot of people are sometimes reluctant to take the first step, you know, they go to the website, but if you have specific links or say, okay, you need help with getting to doctor's appointment, then reach out high and here's how you do it. So I would think more detail better, especially with someone who might be a little bit reluctant or a little unsure about just seeing a list on a website. Some people, that's intimidating.
How do you implement that?
And that falls nicely into our strategy aids with engaging people and our outreach. We can figure out some way to tie those together.
The other
The other thing we might consider is not just focusing on the website because
some of
some of the audience that we're working with may not have a, you know, capacity to get to a website.
So we may
want that
printed
printed materials available at the front of,
you know,
come in.
And out in the foyer.
In the foyer that says, whatever, here's what they do.
And would that be possibly a training for the whoever's at the front desk?
Mm-hmm.
Someone asking there's
Well, and as I understand it, for HA and for other, like general assistance, Gina gets the calls.
Right.
So calling the town.
and having
a person, yeah.
I don't know if you probably don't want to name a person.
No, we wouldn't want to name a person, we would.
You can list your title though. I
Yes.
hope.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mark?
I don't want to muddy the water, but there are two terms being used here, I think. And I don't know anything about this, but I just looked on my phone. And when you talk about social resiliency, the way that's sort of defined is the ability of a community to rebound after a disaster or some sort of things, communication, what have you. Where social equity really is the issue of assuring that disadvantaged populations are addressed in, things that are done to try and mitigate the impacts of climate change. And when it talks about social resiliency, socially resilient communities, it talks about the entire community, and the social equity is more focused on how you assure that when you make decisions about what you do to address climate change, that you consider the needs of disadvantaged groups. And I don't know whether that makes any difference in here, and I was going to look it up in my copy of Maine Won't Wait, but I think I gave it to Matt. But that's for what it's worth.
That's interesting because one of the things, when I recall, in the beginning when we sent through the vulnerability assessment, they referred us to the socioeconomic map that, is it NRC put together, or but it's a map showing income level and how people are affected in town.
As I remember, that's Cundy Harbor. Only, that's the only area that shows up.
But it also, it showed the income level, basically. So I'm not sure how that plays into what we're talking about now.
But I think of
our population as being vulnerable in ways other than income level.
I think that's a fairly
narrow
definition given the median age of the population of Harpswell
and the infirmities that often come with age.
I think
that's too narrow of a focus. I don't think we should ignore that by any means. I think we should expand, but
maybe we might do a better job of explaining that. Because I don't know about your law, but I've always found this area really kind of not knowing what to do with it. Why it's there and how we can respond to it. And I like what you said, Nancy, about we have other issues that aren't the normal social.
Because we have the oldest median age in the state, which has the oldest median age in the country.
Yeah, and
we are at the top of age.
The pinnacle.
Of age population. That would be us.
But on the other hand, we have other issues. We have no public transport. We have a lot of public issues because we're rural. That we might be able to make a really good case of why we are talking about this as far as sustainability.
And we're peninsular,
Yeah.
which goes to your point about water and transportation infrastructure.
Fragmented in terms of transportation as well.
Yeah.
So do we summarize any of that anywhere?
No, but I think we should. I think we've learned a lot over the last couple of years. And from what I'm gathering, it's this whole idea is for towns to figure out what their vulnerabilities are. And I would hope that with a good explanation, we might be able to broaden some of these things with success.
One of the
tricks to answering an essay question
is
to college undergraduate students to rewrite the question
and then
answer that so long as it's related. And the state has provided guidelines,
but those
guidelines don't fit our community as well as our definition
would dictate,
would
then
dictate,
maybe
then
we
maybe we
should
should
try
try
to
to persuade the state
that
that
it's
where you need.
I like it.
Another
Another
issue that
issue that
occurs to
occurs to
me
me
is
is
isolation,
isolation,
which
which
goes
goes
with
with
older,
older
isolation,
isolation, older
peninsular,
peninsular,
no public
no public
transportation,
transportation,
and was one of
was
the
one of the
big
big issues
in the Haas
in the
survey
Haas
back
survey
when
back
that was
when that was
getting
first
started.
getting started.
So when
So when
climate change
change
only
only
aggravates
aggravated
the impact.
the impact.
I don't know how.
I don't know how we figure out.
But you know, that's
But you know, that's
something
something we could,
perhaps because
perhaps
we have to
because
have,
we have
we
to
have to
have,
have
we have to
something
have
under
something
here
under here
that
that
would be a
would be a
direction
direction
of us
trying
trying
to
to flesh
flesh
that out
in
in the future
the
because
future
of
because of
the issues
the issues
that
that
have been brought up. And that in
that
itself
in
could be,
itself
I
could
think,
be,
an
I think,
action
an action
item
item
for us
for us
over the next 2
over the
years.
next 2 years.
And tying it
Tying it with
with even some
even
of
some of
the educational
educational
outreach that we
outreach
have
that we
in
have in
the last
the last
strategy.
strategy.
Does,
Does,
the whole other
the whole other
committee,
committee, affordable housing or attainable housing, but
does that
does that fit here as well as, you know, we're pricing out
the
the
families that
families that
are
are 10th generation and
Right.
we don't have
we
young
don't have
kids.
young kids.
I don't know if
I don't know if
it
it fits or not, but
But we'd
But
be,
we'd be,
I like your
I
idea of
like your idea of
fleshing it out.
fleshing
I
it
think
out.
we should
I
look
would
at
say indirectly it does, because one way to look at it is we so rely on volunteers. And I think that's one of the big challenges we're having with volunteer fire departments, is that you're,
Good point.
I also think
I
that's
also
one
think
of
that's
the
one of the
strengths
strengths
of
of
this
this town,
is that people
is people are so
involved
involved in the governance
town.
of the town.
But we've seen
But we've seen
volunteers drop
volunteers drop
off
off at,
like fire
like fire department.
okay,
okay,
so
so
under build
under
healthy and
build healthy and
resilient
resilient
communities, then, we
we
can,
can,
Jay, you can
Jay,
work
you can
on
work on
fleshing out,
fleshing out,
and
and
Nancy, you may have some
Nancy, you may have some
input on
input on
a good
a good
introduction.
introduction.
editing.
for editing. Yeah.
Okay, can I copy
We're
that?
taking
It's taking Peter's, it's off last pages.
I had one sort of thought,
Sorry.
I
I was wondering to what extent road associations can play a role in
sort of
overcoming isolation,
at least for
at least for the people on their road.
Because
Because
you
you can ignore each other, or you can
sort of be
encouraged by the town to
be a
be a community on the road.
That's a good point,
It's
and
a
we
good
have
point.
that
We have that
mentioned right in the beginning about,
and
and we've talked a
we
lot
talked a
about
lot about
the
the
role
role
of finding out where the
finding out
road
where the road
associations are,
associations are,
and the people
the people
themselves,
themselves,
and then,
and
them
and
in
then
return,
in return,
for us
us
giving them
giving them
education on how to keep
to
the
keep the
road.
road.
They might
They
become
might become
disseminators of information we're trying to get out.
But not just
the road, how
No,
to
but
community, because we all have to
say
pay in to,
you know,
to the road fees.
Right.
Right.
Well, I know what you mean, with our road association, there's been informal years when someone's in need, and it's sort of, you know, just an email goes out,
Yeah.
that someone can't drive for the next month or something like that. So
Exactly, so that seems like it's an opportunity, if road associations are encouraged to do that.
Mary Ann,
Mark,
I'm here looking at the executive summary of Maine Won't Wait. And clearly, this effort is supposed to kind of tie back into local implementation of the strategies in Maine Won't Wait. And if you go to strategy F in the executive summary, it talks about, and this is just a quick, this is the summary. Under strategy F, it has empower local and regional community resilience efforts. adopt official sea level rise projections, emphasize resilience through land use planning and legal tools, and strengthen public health monitoring, education, and prevention. And you may remember way back when there was a spreadsheet of the kinds of activities that the state viewed as being appropriate under each of these strategies. And I would suggest that whoever's gonna work on redrafting Strategy F, both go back and look at Strategy F in Maine Won't Wait, and the ideas that were included in that original spreadsheet for appropriate municipal activities to implement that strategy.
I happen to have it right
I
here.
have it right here.
And
And
I'm not going to read
I'm
the
not
whole
gonna read
thing,
the
it's
whole
really
thing, it's
long.
really long.
But
No,
what
I
I'll
know
do-
it is, and that's why, but I think
I'll give them a
it
copy.
would be good to make sure that what the town is including under Strategy F reflects what the state's thinking was in Maine Won't Wait.
Yeah, it does, it pretty much focuses on emergency services.
Okay. But I think we could still do what you suggested about action plan and what you just said about we're not
building
we're not the same.
We're not the same.
Community
Community and saying we're not the
In
same.
the,
In the,
I think
this town can go above and beyond what the state has defined.
And I think it's.
And I think it's the right.
Absolutely.
Pardon me?
Pardon me?
It might not.
It might not get
a
a state funding,
but it shows
a commitment to taking care of the people who live in Harpswell.
Under
Under circumstances that are not cookie cutter circumstances.
Every
Every town in Harpswell,
every town in Maine might be saying that. That's okay.
Abby, you
Abby,
want
you
to say
wanted to say something?
I don't know if this is too helpful, but I have attended the vast majority of the Maine Climate Council meetings, because they're updating the new plan by the end of this year. And under the social resiliency section, they broadened it out. This new iteration, and specifically when they talk about vulnerable populations, it's a big long list now of what vulnerable populations they're looking at, and elderly,
Older adult
populations, older adult populations are definitely within that focus on social resiliency. So I wonder if maybe the focus from the plan 4 years ago might be a little more limited for social resiliency, and it's broadened out a lot more in the next iteration. I don't know if that's too helpful.
I mean, it seems like everything we talk about fits in with the general emergency response. I mean, if there is some major storm, I think using the road station should reach out and make sure everyone driveway very much fits with that.
I think it's up to us to figure out how to say that. So that it is.
States just
following our lead.
I know.
Well, they want to do it differently, so
Maybe the follow-up might be something that's basically just saying, for example, organizational bodies or parties or whatever you want to call them, who could be a resource under certain circumstances when people are vulnerable, would include brother associations, and then maybe we can figure out some others to implement.
Yeah.
Not putting the onus on the road association to do it, but just suggesting that they have one. That's a possibility. Yeah.
And not committing the town that we're gonna take care of.
Yeah. We already been involved in that,
Much
but
as
here's
I'd
somebody.
This is just.
So, move us along
today on this.
We have a consensus that we want to kind of flesh out different, or add a strategy. Add to that strategy what we have just been talking about.
And you need it, did you say by Friday?
No, I need it tomorrow.
By tomorrow. I guess I misheard because I wanted.
I have
Okay.
to send this off for Thursday's meeting for,
Okay.
you know, like tomorrow. I'm supposed to have it today. I told Terry I would have it tomorrow,
Okay.
so that it can be printed and put in the select binders.
So I'll get,
And we don't have to, we're, as we talked about, this is gonna be kind of a higher level, so we don't, I think if we get the introduction of how we're trying to say this, that would go a long way, and that would give us time to flesh it out more by the time we send the full plan in.
Okay.
sounds good. And looking,
Most people.
15th.
looking ahead a little bit to what Ken, I think it was Ken's point about getting the word out
About things
still under F. Somewhere it talks about. Well, number three partially gets at that.
Number three. What we're talking about,
But it's not, it's kind of specific to fire. But anyway, we begin to touch.
Right. So basically, the select board has to approve this Thursday night to be ready to be sent out because they don't meet before we have, well, they actually do. We have until the 20th, I don't want to say out loud. But there's not another meeting. So we have to get the general consensus from the selectmen that we're on the right path, I think. And I kind of looked at what we did the last time, sort of following the same level of detail. And thinking that if we gave you too much to look at and talk about Thursday night, that might not be the best way to go. Jay, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I think I'm catching up, and I think I finally found the right paper. But build healthy, resilient communities. We're talking about education kind of things and working with other organizations, sort of things and whatever. And the question I have is, like we have done with the road studies in other areas, given we're talking about the next 2 years, something in there that says we're going to do further assessment of the community's strengths, assets, resilience, and gaps or vulnerabilities that we need to address. So I'm hearing assumptions. We know what we know. We don't yet know what's interesting. So that's my thought, because these specific activities rely on where to put the energy and depth.
Can you say
that one more time?
What do you look at what to determine?
That one of the items under that, you have address socioeconomic activities. This was number one. Maybe another number under there would be review and further assess our community strengths.
Yeah, strengths and weaknesses.
Strengths and resiliency strengths and gaps, and develop further action plans or strategies out there.
Thank you.
That's good.
Because I'm trying to catch up. Yeah, Cooties Harbor may be a poorer area, but they may have the best social network to support one another. Right. We don't know. Just one example.
I think that's a
very good point.
That's good. Yeah. That's good.
Assessing is always good. Assessing good and looking at the strengths. You know, I'm thinking about there's a community development approach that builds on the assets of it and doesn't look for the problems, but builds the assets. What about
Okay, so we're going to, just moving back to what's in front of you. Number two, we're not saying that it's been replaced. On this, I had shown Code Red had been replaced, but that was a misunderstanding that I had about it. So I just was thinking about, should we just take this out? But we do have to say is provide education to the public on the system and how to sign up for phone or, and the options for alerts, right? Mhm. Yeah.
Could you say like Code Red has been supplemented with
Yes.
the,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Is this last paragraph correct then under C, town information sign-ups are mass communication? That would be part of the instructional piece, though, isn't it?
Well, that's when I really went into a rabbit hole with all this. I did so many, and is it helpful to give people too much? I don't know if you, I just don't know. If you sign up for all of them.
Well, that's something we got to figure out. Let people know.
My summary was focus on what Harpswell does, which is mass communication. You can put the others in there, but is it helpful? I don't know.
I don't
I
either.
find it very confusing.
I don't know
that all those
particular
things need to be put in this document.
I think they're
really helpful to know
and to
tease out
and
and then to
communicate
somewhere
in
some
these
one of these forms.
but I don't know
that has to come.
I think the information
needs
And
to go out.
this is another area where we would want to determine the most effective way to provide the information that's needed, right?
Well, and remember, Art was always. I kept harping on Code Red, and he was always hesitant. It's a private company, as opposed to like FEMA or emergency management. I did talk to Cumberland County. They're offering to train in Code Red. I mean, I don't feel the need right now, but that's an offer.
Okay.
We want to find out more about it. One of them is
a government
site,
main government,
another is
another is
EMS.
EMS.
I don't know. And I talked to Terry, who said the mass communication system will push out FEMA alerts. So you sign up for meetings, calendar, agendas, all that, plus
Right.
emergency alert.
That's more
That's
in
more
dissemination,
which is
Well, I
not
don't
for
want
us
to
to
deny
answer
answer
right
right
now.
information, but
I just don't know how helpful it is.
Well, maybe we can make that a little more general. Okay. Number three, continue to work with the town fire administrator to educate residents. And for four, I think we can definitely maybe, well, let me get some input from everybody on 3 and 4. These would be new that we'd be adding to what is in the plan now.
We're still on it.
Ah, yes.
yes.
okay.
What did the latch F say?
Looking at the 22 sustainability plan, F3 is developer and early warning system, education evacuation plan. So that's the area.
Yeah.
I guess I wonder if 3 does it need to continue work with fire administrator, Is it broader than that?
Probably.
Fire department, fire administrator plus other
Emergency
institutions.
service what is the title of FEMA code red? What are these considered?
Well, they're
Well,
emergency
they're emergency
alerts,
alerts,
but
but
it's not just
it's
about,
not just
three
about,
isn't
three isn't just about alerts, it's about
mitigation and
mitigation
prevention.
and prevention.
So,
So,
I don't know.
Emergency
response
organizations or something like that?
entities.
And maybe here, these are the two where we would stay as general as the old plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned that I don't see the word evacuation in here, as there was.
Apparently in the original one.
And I think
And
about
I
the
think
flooding
about
on
the
the
flooding
Dingley
on the
Island
Dingley
Bridge
Island
and the
Bridge
flooding
and the
of
flooding
Potts
of
Point
Potts Point
Causeway. And I think evacuation notification might be in the future of Harpswell, like maybe next winter. And, I don't want to be a nervous Nelly, but I could see where there would be people who should perhaps move temporarily from where they live during
the course of the storm, so that if they have trouble, they can be taken care of.
And so I think we
So
should
I
put
think we should put
evacuation
in.
talking about fire and fire industries,
a reader would
automatically
automatically go to
fires,
right?
But I think that somewhere down the road, until we get bridges replaced, small bridges replaced with larger bridges, and we have a central location here, which is a shelter in place. I think perhaps at some point we might have to encourage people to evacuate where they're living in order to come to a safe place. So I would like to see evacuate written in.
Sure.
Something like where evacuation processes might be appropriate.
Well, wouldn't those evacuation notices come out through the emergency alert system, whatever they are?
I would think so.
The next source I would think.
You know, this is an area we have not done much with, because we didn't quite know what to do with it, to be truthful. But it's an area, I think that, and keeping with the idea of what we're doing here in the state. We now have some ideas on how to work on this and actually put some things that in effect talk about things that could be helpful.
And a lot of stuff that is we're already doing, we've already talked about, but it's putting it down.
Yeah. So,
I think January woke a lot of people up, certainly woke me up. I didn't ever think that I would be worried about friends on Dingley Island until I saw the water flooding the road.
right.
Or even Potts
Point.
Right, I didn't
I
see that.
didn't see that.
There's no way I could be driving over
over
that part of the world in that storm.
Oh, yeah. I saw it.
Okay, so it's getting kind of late. It's 10 to 5, and we're still on the first item. And so do we have a way forward on this particular item that
Well,
that we
I
can?
guess I'm looking for direction. I can rewrite the introductory statement. Can have a list. Do we wanna? Is there some way we wanna say? Flesh out more in the future. I mean, how?
Well, basically, I think we have some. With the introduction, that would be the top level that we would put on Thursday.
And then we'll keep.
And then we could keep working it down from there, but I think, as I think about this, I just see a real good opportunity to have a lot of conversation directed on making sure what is in effect and what might be added as a due action.
And I think it should include James.
Yeah,
comment.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Give it a shot.
Get it to you
at midnight.
Or later.
Wow. When I
You're talking about
midnight tomorrow night or midnight?
when I Picking up.
All right.
From sleep.
You get up off
You
there.
know, off
would you?
there, would you?
All right, let's move on to strategy area G, which is invest in climate-ready infrastructure. And
Invest in climate.
ready infrastructure. I'm reading directly. Do you have a copy of this, Mark?
Not with me, no.
One,
It's all right.
I was gonna say, if you wanted to write
No, it's just gonna confuse me.
Oh, okay.
I'll just be asking questions.
So basically, we have down here, we're going to continue to seek funding for the identified improvements, and they should include, this is the financial piece. Continue to provide the annual funding for Spira. We have done 2 years in a row, and we continue to do. Develop a program for funding major infrastructure projects, those are to-dos. And continue to seek grants for engineering studies. So that it is, that's what we have written down. And then we also have as a new item to think about, develop a mitigation investment policy.
Then, back to special for 1C, what do we want to continue grants, engineering studies, and implementation?
Yes.
Yes.
Keeping Mark awake.
Right.
Does it have anywhere here that says what Spira stands for?
I do.
It's in here
Yeah.
because I can never.
If it's not in, but I'll make sure that it is in there. Would you like to know?
Yes.
Let's see if I can remember.
I can never remember.
Sustainability Plan Implementation Reserve Account.
Yeah. I did write it out. I think it was the letter to the select. That's where it says.
Thank you.
Mary, you going to,
I'm sorry?
I interrupted, but you were about going to develop.
Oh, yeah, to develop a mitigation investment policy. Now, I think Jay might have something to say on this, and I think we need to talk about this a little bit, figure out how we're gonna solve the problem, but how we would deal with this particular item.
Mary Ann, we have the beginning of this in what we've written about roads and priority for what are the criteria for the priority for different roads. And I'm assuming we have the same thing for landings. You know, that some are more important than others because of numbers of people, public landings, whatever. So I think we already have a lot of this information available.
So might we be then thinking about, we would provide that information for this management investment policy to be used as making decisions, because the decisions are going to be made in the end by the select board.
Is it mitigation investment?
But
Management investment policy or mitigation investment policy?
No, a mitigation investment policy, we're talking about putting money away. That would have to
But
be.
you just said management investment policy.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
But we do
already have a pretty well-developed list of priorities in terms of numbers of people, public landings. I mean, there's a whole list, number of businesses that would be affected.
Right.
So
we don't need
to reinvent the wheel. We just need to
put it
where everyone can read it.
Yeah, and it would seem to be these, well, just go back to roads. We have something in there that says that we will develop, we have a criteria of how we chose the roads and how they were prioritized. And then there's a second priority to say that these roads would be the engineering plans for updating the road would be part of, when a capital road project comes up, that information would be utilized as part of making the decision on the new road, the updated road. So I guess I'm seeing that we should be able to sit down and get together a listing of what we would like to see included as you start taking, putting in effect a mitigation policy. We're gonna have something to say to the public for them to like the idea of putting money away without a particular reason.
Mary Ann, this is
Yes?
Mark. This is my idea, and it really says, obviously when the town looked at the roads and which roads to apply for grants for, it looked at a variety of factors. But that doesn't include cost. What does it cost to make the improvement? And, we had a public meeting on the road studies, and, people had all sorts of suggestions for how the roads could be improved. But to me, the bottom line that the future select boards and town meeting are going to have to decide is there's not an unlimited amount of money, and how do you prioritize among the 5 roads that have been already identified and work has been done on, and presumably there might be more when the flood mapping is updated. How do you start to make priorities over where you're going to spend the limited amount of money? I think that's going to be an important question because, at that public meeting, there were people who said, well, yes, but we've got another place down here that floods or flooded. And so to me, the idea of a capital improvement program is that you look at the needs for capital investment and you create a system for figuring out which ones you need to fund first and which ones you wait on. And to me, I think in the long term, the town would be smart to start to think about how it will make those decisions in the future.
Just add on to what Mark said. No microphone here.
I should give you a microphone.
No, that's okay. Totally agree with that. And just for you all to know, there's been the recommendation at the Budget Advisory Committee last year that we now have a 5-year horizon for capital investment, that be a 10-year horizon. And if this committee could provide what Mark was talking about, what are the priorities and why, that would be very helpful for that process to go forward with whatever data is available on cost.
Okay. Well, on roads,
We can do it.
pretty,
This is a 2-year plan.
Yep.
That'd be sufficient.
And I'm not sure
it's
how
not landings.
I know your committee's doing some stuff.
Not 10 years out.
10 years out.
No, but 2 years.
2 years. I'm not sure we even look 2 years.
Well, 2 years.
No, but we already have information on 2 of your landings
Right.
that we know what the cost will be to update. I guess there might be others.
There will be,
as well as other
just
just
regular
regular
maintenance.
maintenance.
You would presumably figure that into your long-term plan as well.
Is that something
Yes,
the
sir.
committee would
We're-
start?
we're-
You're looking at it, I think.
Right, and I think we're meeting about waterfront in a couple weeks about land use in general, right? Is that, Mose, am I right on that?
You are.
So
That
focuses on
parking
parking
and
and
access
access
as much as anything.
because it's
The big addition.
big addition to my docks at the top point.
Of course, it's gone,
gone.
but,
But
it's a
it's a
perennial
perennial
issue.
issue, and
We need
we need to
to
somehow figure out an answer to at least
alleviate.
alleviate it and completely fix it.
So it sounds like we have a good start on this already.
Are the criteria the same or similar to what Deirdre described?
Yeah.
With the addition of which got wiped out by storm?
Well, the
Well, Potts Point got
inoperable.
and,
Graveyard
Point
also got severely
damaged
damaged by storm,
damaged
but
storm,
much
but
less impactful.
impactful.
Because that's really
That's
more
really more
planetary
planetary.
Well, what I was asking
Asking
was,
was,
are the general
are the general
criteria
criteria
the same,
the same, how many,
you know,
you know,
how many people
how many
use
people
it,
use
how many
it?
Usage is definitely,
and then you'd add in, it just got severely
severely
damaged,
damaged.
that you didn't.
And as Deirdre mentioned,
the difference,
yeah, the
because
roads-
with the roads, we're talking businesses, access to emergency care, I mean, there's a,
You know,
you know,
if you
if you
close
close
off
off
24,
24,
you know,
in one particular place and 123 at the same storm,
you're gonna have
you're gonna have trouble for,
you know,
you know, 50% of the population not being able to get out.
but we had
But we had worked out a,
We have a
We have a
matrix
matrix,
that
we have a matrix that has criteria
that have
that have
listed
listed
criteria,
criteria,
which
which
we'd be glad
we'd be glad
to share.
to share, sure.
And
And
could we
could
redo
we
it to
redo it to
what you're looking
what
at?
you're looking
And I
at?
do
And I do think we've already ranked things, so I think we could do a 5 or 10 year plan
based on
the rankings we've already,
We've
now,
unless we
unless we
want
want to add some other criteria, but
we've ranked them.
we have
applied
applied
for
for
and
and received grants to do
engineering
engineering assessments
assessments
on the 5
that were
that were
ranked.
ranked.
And
And
the
the
sixth
sixth
one
one
was the
was
first
the first
one
one we did, which was
Basic
Basic
Road. So the
So
roads,
the roads,
we
we
basically
basically
will
will
have
have
the
the necessary
financial
financial
information,
information
the
of the
cost,
costs
probably by the end of the year.
of the year.
And
And
we could
you
use
could
that
use that
as part
as
of
part of
what
what
we're
we're
trying
trying
to
to
do.
do.
And it would
And
probably, for town
for town
landings, we have two. There will
there will
probably
probably
be
be
more,
more, but,
but, you know, they're
you know, they're
working
working
on
on
that,
that,
but I think it's a good
start.
So should
should
there be
something like what Jane had suggested,
which would be
which
to
would be to
assess
assess
in a
in
similar
a similar
fashion,
fashion,
assess town
assess town
landings in
landings
a similar
in
fashion to what town
what
roads
town roads
has
has done,
done, or what
or what
Conservation
Conservation
Commission has
Commission
done
has
about
done
town
about
roads.
town roads.
If the
If the
assessment is similar, it's easier for people to be able to make comparisons. And town
And town
landings
landings will be
seeking funds from the same general
general
pot
of money
as roads,
as
I
roads,
presume.
I presume.
So the more
So the more
consistent
consistent
those,
those,
that
that
information can be,
information
the
can be,
easier
the
it will be
easier
for people to make decisions.
decision.
So,
So,
for instance,
for instance,
with
with
Ken's group,
Ken's group,
including my
including
husband,
my husband,
need to say
need to
that,
say that.
they
They
benefit
benefit from
the
the
format
format of
decision-making
decision-making
that
that
Conservation
Conservation
Commission
Commission did
in choosing
in
its
choosing its
priorities.
priorities.
possibly, and they would
And
probably
they would
want
wanna add a few there.
Of course,
You're
yeah,
probably
so
still
revise,
Revise and adapt, absolutely.
And I think, for
And I think, for
example,
example,
might
might
be
be,
location.
location.
In other words,
it's
certain cost
cost landings are relevant where you are in
town.
town. It's that,
In
probably
fact,
another factor that weighs in.
Sure, it would
Sure,
be
it would
different,
be different,
but could
but
it be
could
structured?
be structured
in the
Based
same
on the
way?
same evaluation.
different criteria.
Landings,
You know,
and where
and
would a
where
person
would a
find
person
like the
find
matrix or the list?
It's on our
It's on our
computer.
Yeah, okay, so my
Okay,
next
now my
question
next
is,
question
should
is,
there be
should there be
references
references to this
in here?
here?
Like how you
like
can
how you can
see that
see that
process,
process, or see what the
criteria are, or is that
or is that not
I
necessary?
think, you know,
I think,
at some point, maybe when you're getting ready to put something into effect, you would then, right now, it's just what we use and we refer to. And I think probably one of our, at one point, we used it as an addendum, I think, and what we were doing, I'm just not sure. But I think we have a good start on this.
Well, I'm
I'm
wondering
wondering
because I know Deirdre, I can
answer.
I know you,
I can
but
ask you, but
if you don't know
if you don't know who knows,
should there be some, how do people
know
to find out? I'm
thinking about
the
meeting we had about
the roads we were doing
and the comment about how come you're not dealing with my part of
Bethel Point.
Bethel Point.
Right.
But they're two different
things, but
We do have
spreadsheets we can make available.
if they know.
No, I mean,
As part of
this,
so
so
we can add
Someone
it,
has
yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe
can
not.
add
we can
it
add it as
the
the
spreadsheet.
spreadsheets,
the
the criteria on the spreadsheets.
Even
Yeah.
at one, I think at one of the public meetings, we might have used it in the presentation. I'm not positive. We may have.
Mary Ann,
Yes,
I don't think you have to resolve how to do it tonight.
you're right.
I think what you need to do is decide whether it's an activity that should be in the list that gets undertaken. And for example, yes, there are priorities for roads, and maybe there will be priorities for wharves, but if you have X amount of money, do you spend it on wharves or do you spend it on roads? Those are the kind of questions that you need to think through as you think about, are there other, the answer to the question when somebody says, well, how come you're not considering my road? You need to have that sort of comprehensive, inclusive system, and it's not necessarily a fixed system. The capital budget may change from year to year. Something happens on a road and it was not in the plan, but now the town's got to decide whether it's going to spend money to do something on it. That's the kind of system that you need or should have. And the key is, what do you consider? Is cost, benefit per household or for job a consideration? Or is it simply, well, there are 23 houses on this road versus 20 on another road, even though the cost per unit is very different. That's all I'm saying.
Good point.
Good point. So going back to this, all we need tonight is to develop a mitigation investment policy.
It works?
And then do it.
And do it.
It's
Oh, you want us to do it too? Man, okay. All right. Last thing. Engage Maine people.
And we've got to remember that it's not just the town that potentially will be paying for some of this, but hopefully we can get grants.
Yes.
Also pay for it. So entire burden isn't on the town to pay for this, because we're talking serious
We
money.
are, and that goes back to continue to seek grants for engineering.
So I think, you know, B is very important to, continue to develop funding.
Oh, you're talking about
Developing
other
other funding for our infrastructure. I mean, for roads and for our landings and wharves and things.
Where are you looking?
at
tolls.
Here,
tolls
right there.
The strategy to just engage Maine people. Okay.
Maine with
Maine with an E.
Not Maine people that we like, or those that we don't like.
We
Pick our priorities.
Okay,
It's
all right.
hard to Maine with
So, number one is work on a community energy resource information program, which we've started. And, I think Peter brought it up at the last meeting, perhaps, about developing a sustainability news feed, and it's being discussed as a way of getting, we have to do a better job getting information about energy resources that are available to the public. And we've started, but we should be doing a better job at that. And I think we now have, we've started to develop a kind of a group of people who are willing to work on that. And some of them are on the committee, some are not.
I don't think
the word completed will ever happen.
because
all of the sources will constantly change.
That's true.
So
It's gonna be
projects should be set up and regularly
updated or kept current.
Revolve.
organic.
Pardon?
Organic.
Yes, that's right, it should evolve organically.
living documents.
Okay.
Mary Ann,
Mark?
can I suggest possibly adding another activity which,
No.
No.
No, thank you.
being done?
Under H?
And that is to monitor and report to the community the implications of climate change. I know that's one of the things that's being discussed in the update of Maine Won't Wait, but I was in a meeting last week where a member of a committee said, I don't think this sea level rise thing is real, etc. And I think that sort of documenting what's going on, what the implications are for the town, what the costs are for dealing with it, is an important part of this engaging Maine people. And I think the people who suffered damage in the January storms may or may not now be believers, but there are probably other people who say it was a freak storm and it's never going to happen again, or it happened in 1938 or whatever. I just think that's an important piece of the puzzle.
Good point. I see this is duplicated here.
Yeah. One less thing to cover.
So that sounds like a good idea. Monitor report to the community, the implications of climate change.
I think people believe or they don't believe. And it's very hard to convince people who don't believe in climate change. The compelling nature of the data, which demonstrates scientific data, which demonstrates that climate has changed.
And perhaps,
since the Industrial Revolution.
and perhaps that's not the question we should be addressing. Climate change is a term that we can talk about what has happened for 3 years. And we don't need to perhaps. Maybe you just keep providing information of what's happening and let people make their own decisions. Whether it's climate change or whether it's really costing us a lot of money in the last 10 years. And we need to do something different. I don't know.
That's a good point, because there's a difference between climate change is happening versus the town has needed to spend X to repair X. Or to prevent that. It's very different.
Or there've been
more major power outages
events
in the last
3 years
than
much higher average.
Yeah.
I agree
that it makes sense to collect immediately geographically relevant data
and
put it out there for people to see.
I guess one of the distinctions is you don't have to ascribe climate change to fossil fuels. You can just look at data for the last 20 years and say that maybe it's just part of the natural evolution of the Earth, right? It doesn't really matter. It's kind of,
but it's something we're going to have to contend with.
exactly.
You can look at the tide gauges over the last 20 years and see that the size of the mean tide level has risen.
It's not just going to stop.
That's what you said.
Good point.
Good
We
point.
will add that as monitor report to the community the implications of climate change.
I have news and updates regarding climate change and the related implications.
That's fine.
Just a time check. I need to leave at 5:30.
We got 15 minutes. We better wrap it up.
Or I can forward it to you. I can forward the document to Abby and she could.
She's never gonna show me again.
She writes.
Oh, no, you can do that too.
Well, I think we might be able to wrap up by 5:30.
Yeah, well,
Abby writes really dense notes.
I can see her fingers are flying at twice the rate mine were, so I'm looking.
Well, anyhow, I think we've gotten through the whole thing.
pretty cool, yeah.
I don't know if any of you had a chance to read the ones we talked about the other day, and they were emphasized in the minutes. But I'm ready to go with what we have. Which would be for strategy A, we're gonna undertake preliminary road studies to newly identify town roads subject to inundation, because what we're coming to the realization that there's new floodplain maps, and there's going to be they're gonna show more roads are affected than perhaps showed on previous maps. We would like to know where they are, and even whether they're private or public. We will be able to get that from the mapping. This will be true that the town warms docks and launches are going to probably be more effective. There might be more of a difference with those than we will see with the roads. So if we move on those. And then the third one is to help private road residents prepare for increased maintenance as a result of climate change. Undertake an educational program in the creation of statutory road association. The question on this is, did we want to take more active role? And I think we pretty much decided at the last meeting that we did. The Conservation Commission's been talking about, Peter mentioned it, about his road association, and we thought of it as a good combination to help us in many ways in our communications.
Plus it fits in with vulnerability, as Ken said.
Which is another point. Okay, then we get
Then we get
into
into
strategy B,
strategy B,
complete the town
complete the town
office
office
energy
energy
improvements.
improvements.
So the
So
number
the
of
number of
improvements
improvements
have
have
been
been
identified
identified
through
through
the energy audit,
energy audit,
but they're not
but they're not
completed yet.
completed yet.
And
And
we really should
we
finish
really
those up,
finish
because
those up,
those go back
because
2
go
years.
back 2 years.
I will mention
I will
that
mention that
when talking to
when talking to
Christie, she's considering
Spirit
as
as
paying
paying
for
for
the
funds
they
that
don't
they
have
don't
as
have
part of their
as part
maintenance
of their
budget.
maintenance budget.
Just reading
Just
the
reading the way the
article read
article
in
read
the
in the
warrant.
warrant.
We've talked
We've
about
talked
that
about that all along, as a possibility.
Right.
Right.
I think it's more
I
than
think it's more than
possible.
possible.
I mean, I think
Our
assumption
assumption
is
is
that
that
efficiency
Bay would be a
part
big
of that.
part of that.
Cover the bulk of it.
Oh,
Right.
right.
The next one was to undertake, do we wish to undertake energy audits improvements of other town buildings? And this is something I wish Howie was here, because I would think that would be something that they would look into and
make some,
weigh in and
then make some.
we should put it in the
We should
plan,
put
but
it
it
in
would
the
be
plan,
up
but it would
to
be
them
up
to
to them to weigh in on
whether
whether they,
after they
after they
think
think
about
about
it.
what we should do.
So this one
So this one could be
decide
decide
about
about whether or not we need to undertake energy
improvements of other buildings,
So,
or consider,
or consider, right?
Consider.
Consider.
Strategy
Strategy
area
area
C,
C,
reduce emissions
reduce
from
emissions
clean
from
energy.
energy.
This is
This
explore
is
a town
explore a
solar
town
array.
array.
The beginning part talks about
about
what the town is
what the
doing
town is
now,
doing now.
and,
And,
but
but
then
then
the orange, the letters in orange are suggestions of how the Energy and Technology Committee might want to proceed, so that we can still work for reducing our, becoming
becoming
self-sufficient.
self-sufficient for carbon neutral.
Yeah, and
basically,
one of the
one of the
suggestions
suggestions
that
that
Mark
Mark
made
made
was
was to
drop the
drop
concept
the
that
concept
should
that should
be
be
on
on
a specific piece of
town
property,
property.
but open it up to town-owned land and other sites that the town could lease or otherwise get access to for this purpose. We don't know
We don't know what's gonna come up in the future.
And then there's the
the
ideas
ideas
underneath of
underneath
what
of
to
what
do,
to do,
preliminary financial
cost.
This would be for the Energy and Technology Committee to take on. And they would come back
They would
with
come back
a
with
report
a
to
report
us,
to us,
and then
and
report
then
to the
report to the
selectmen on
selectmen
what
on what they,
feel we should, excuse me, we
excuse
should
me,
proceed.
should proceed.
Mary Ann,
The only thing I would say is that the opening paragraph,
Howie
spoke fairly strongly that the
sends, in
since in a sense the town owns a small portion of a larger solar array should be deleted.
Thank you.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all that's.
And that's all that's in blue, isn't it?
Do you see where that is?
Do you see where that is?
Okay, I'm trying
I'm looking,
to
I'm trying to
think.
think
Look
about
at
it.
the
number one is for.
No, I haven't,
No, I
I'm just
haven't.
looking at the whole paragraph to see if the whole paragraph should come out. I'll work that.
I'll work that.
'Cause what we're
What
really
we're really
saying
saying
is
is
that
that
we
we wanna
Do a
we
cost
wanna-
Do a
benefit
cost
analysis.
benefit analysis.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
I'm
rewrite
gonna rewrite
this
this
tonight.
tonight,
I'll send it around.
send it around.
Strategy
Strategy
D1
D1
is, so
is,
this is
this is
strategy
strategy
D1.
D1, this is the one that we had a lot of discussion
on
around.
this meeting. By the way,
I
I
talked
talked to
to
Matt Gilly,
knowing
knowing that we
that
did
we
not
did not
have
have
time
time
for
for
him
him
to
to
come
come
tonight, and he
He
understands.
understands that
He's gonna come
on
on
the
first of
first of
October,
October,
which would be our next meeting
to
to
talk about.
his concerns about wind power.
Offshore.
Offshore.
Offshore wind power. This brings up something kind of a bit off, but I explained to him what our focus is and the question about wind power affecting us in the near future, that the lines coming into Harpswell affecting us in the near future. But at any rate, came up because I know Matt next to me here has a lot of information about various types of energy that we could be using and are in the process. And I'm just wondering if this is the type of thing as part of an educational process in the future of having some type of panels talking about various types of various type of energy that's in the offing, and have panelists, knowledgeable panelists, as well as people who are going to have reasons why they don't think it's such a good idea. I mean, you really sort of have both. Just thinking about that.
I think
That's an excellent idea, because the place that Matt brought up that prompted
him to want
to come and speak with us
are things that
I had never heard before, or seen printed or published anywhere.
And the things that
he outlined are alarming,
and I think
that information is not being generally put out.
everybody thinks
no wind power just out there blowing around. Let me just plug it in,
and
it may not be that simple.
And I don't want to put Abby on the spot.
No.
But she and I were just, it came to my mind also as I had questions about the project now that I have not seen answers to. So don't want to analyze this tonight, but I'm wondering if that isn't.
If we get
pro and con presented in a public forum, I think that would be very helpful. Because the news that we're getting doesn't focus on some of this stuff.
And there's always, and even as we go forward in the future, there's going to be types of energy that are not ready to go yet. But I know myself, I'd like information on those too.
Well, and I think on to Moses' point, you're going to have different opinions. So strong ones, but to have people have a panel, and maybe it's not just this committee that hears it, right?
Right.
So I think that would be useful generally, and you know, there's studies. This study can show this, and this study can show the opposite. So people need to get the information and decide how they feel.
Exactly.
I think we'll have to choose the panelists very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tim could
Ken could probably help with that as well.
on
Perhaps Tim's here.
Yes. And Matt, I think you have a fair amount of knowledge about various other.
I don't know if I have resources for individuals and maybe able to talk.
But if we get, I think, credible people who are able to come here, might have to be on a Zoom connection. I don't know. But this could be something in the future, in the next, in the near future that we could schedule as schedule for the public.
It's engagement. Can I ask a question about D?
Yes.
Looking at the original 22 sustainability plan, and was it D2 that created the concern?
Yes.
Establish a ton of energy industry and businesses located in the community, which didn't mean exactly what it said, but that provoked that concern, I think. And I noticed that's not here. So that's been taken out.
Yeah, I took it. Well, basically, maybe I missed something here. D.
That was
We
the
decided, we decided to do an introductory
paragraph.
right? Which was,
I'm not sure. I saw
A
a possibility
was to reword that,
yes,
yes.
so that it's
So that
not,
it's not,
So that it's more
so that it's
clear.
more
it's
clear,
clearer
it's clearer and
not scary.
not scary.
so
So
how
might we do that?
I don't
I don't
have the
have
answer,
the
but
answer,
it was,
but it was.
Well, Nancy, you
Well,
had
Nancy, you
that
had
point, as I recall.
I did.
I did.
So here's what
So
I
here's what I
wrote
wrote
in the minutes.
in the minutes.
It was to
It was to
clarify
clarify
the
the
intention of attracting
companies to
Harpswell
Harpswell
that are in the business of sustainability,
not
not
necessarily in
developing
green energy
sources.
sources.
An example
An
would
example would
be
be to attract businesses and carbon sequestration like kelp farm.
And at the time,
And at the time, Running Tide was here,
and they were doing
kelp farming,
which is a way
of kelp growing,
which is a way
of sequestering carbon and sinking it into the deep water.
So the intention was not to specify anything like wind turbine energy provided by wind turbines, but to foster
an
environment
in Harpswell in which businesses that were looking for ways to sequester carbon
or
promote energy efficiency
would find
the I'm not a business person, never have been, but have the business environment that they would feel welcome here,
and that the
and that the
town
would welcome that kind of industry here.
That's what we got to say.
That's what we have
to say, exactly.
But I don't know
how business speak is the problem.
Well, we don't have to make it business.
Yeah, it's gonna be very general, like I said, I don't.
Business speak is cliche,
Teacher speak is a lot of cliche.
So
should I take what's in the minutes to revise it?
Yeah, if you would.
Sure.
And then we
By
can
midnight tonight.
By midnight.
By midnight tonight.
So that would be every three then.
No, it'll be,
Mm-hmm. Because two is different.
I just forwarded Abby the minutes as of 5:30.
oh, it's 5:30, it is 5:30, isn't it?
She's gonna send me either raw data that she's collecting now, or she's gonna just drop that in, or either way, but I just saw it, sure.
Oh, thank you, I'm sorry, I thought we'd be done.
Light goes on.
It does, thank you, Mark, it's good to see you.
Have a good commute.
Have a good commute.
Have a good commute.
Have a good commute. Yeah, that's right. The Oxford.
All right, so, let's go back. So the first section talks about local food production. The second one talks about clean energy businesses, such as, yeah. So that'll be D2, just reword that with what we just talked about, Nancy.
Right. But then you have in the version that we got today a numeral two. So are there gonna be three components there under strategy area D1? Is that what you're asking, Jake? Are we adding back in the one about businesses?
I think we're gonna still make that two. All right, in one. I'm not sure that number one should read the way it does even.
That looks
like a preface to me.
Yeah, it is. So, as a
But
preface
as a
to
preface to
D1.
D1.
Yes.
But we also need a preface to D2. Which you're gonna write.
I'm not
sure what you're referring to as D2.
I'm sorry, D1. I should probably put D2 back in. I should put in, let me read this. I should put in black.
Yes.
Or blue. Establish incentives for clean energy industry or businesses to locate in the community.
No, that's what
Nancy's
doing.
I'm gonna rewrite that one.
And that'll be D2.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And then,
I would suggest that you use the words appropriate for Harpswell community
yes,
in there.
yes.
That would say, well, the running, landing, wind capable through Harpswell would not be appropriate. But that
Okay. That's good.
That's good business speak.
And I'm gonna go home, have a beer draft, and send it to you.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay.
And then what is two in this draft becomes 3.
And then we're gonna take out incentivize clean energy carbon sequestration, what are we gonna say?
I'm gonna
reword that.
Just
Yeah,
reword
just
it.
number 2.
I'd leave that sequestration. You'd leave out what? Well, I don't know. if
That
that
wasn't,
was-
that should have been an example.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe, but it would be.
Right,
Right, that's merely an example. Yes.
And then
And then
3
would be
work with fishing and harvesting community, support and provide information to enable them to prepare their infrastructure to stay resilient. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
I think we've done it,
it.
or maybe not.
Sounds like,
Sounds like
it's a living document.
Yeah.
I think we've done it.
Mark?
On that rewrite that Nancy's doing, she said something about kelp and sequestration of carbon. And is the intention to leave that in or not?
Well, sure.
Well, because my question is, one of the things that my understanding of the demise of Running Tide was that there were both environmental issues raised about their proposal to sink kelp to deep ocean depths. And also there were issues about the scale, the impact of the scale of kelp harvesting that would be needed to have any significant impact. And so I just think, there are people out there in the community that thought that their approach to using kelp was not well thought out. And I'm not sure we gain anything by putting references to such as kelp.
Anything.
It's
Well,
just.
I thought it was more general,
Just general carbon sequestration.
which can be much broader.
Yeah. I'd like
Right.
to include carbon sequestration because it's the only reference to mitigation, to sequestration of carbon in this whole document. We talked about being more energy efficient, and we talked about using solar arrays and so on, but I think it's important to include, can we actually sequester carbon? Can this town do something to sequester carbon? I think that example is the moon example.
And potentially create jobs.
And I agree. And that example was also controversial. Not everybody saw it, including like in Island Institute. So
Yeah.
it's what Ken said, appropriate for Harpswell or the community. Right. And
So-
science.
So that was not a good example, but it doesn't mean that we should be creating an environment, business environment, which people can be successful at carbon sequestration. That's scalable, and translatable, and so on. We can expand it to say carbon sink or sequestration.
Okay,
Okay,
that was good.
that was good science.
Here again, shame we don't have to here. That would be helpful as well.
Yeah. Are we there?
Here's some more extra.
Okay, good, so I think we're there
we're there
for today.
for today.
And
And
I will
I will
start
start
making
making
updates
updates
to
to
this.
this.
I'll insert your
Insert your
updates,
updates,
and you're going
and you're
to
going
pass
to pass
in.
in.
Do you need us
Do
to
you need
approve
us to
this
approve
letter
this
to
letter
the
to
select
the
board?
select board?
Probably. And it has,
It has,
Matt, I'm
Matt,
going to
I'm
give you
gonna give you
the
the
opportunity to
opportunity to
talk
talk
about
about
the changes
the
that were
changes
made
that
to
were
that.
made to that.
Because I haven't even
So I
looked at
haven't
them,
looked
to tell you
at
the
them,
truth.
to tell you the
Mark and
truth.
Matt
Mark
have
and
made
Matt
some
have made
changes
some
to
changes
this
to
letter.
this letter.
Yeah, Mark and I independently went through and made changes, and then I went and looked at his changes, and they were all the same changes that I had done. So. But
Planners
But,
papers.
right, yeah. So mostly kind of copy edit things, just some spelling, expanding. The expanded acronym for GoPef is incorrect, so it needs to be fixed. A few references to things like using the word us or we should be town, the town or something. Otherwise,
otherwise,
did you have
Mark, did you have
anything
anything
else
else
to
to
say
say
on
on that?
I think that
No,
was.
I think you and Marianne can just clean
Yeah.
it up, and
Yeah.
I think in
I
general.
would move we use the letter
Use the letter as amended.
Good idea. I like
I'll
that.
second
I'll
it.
second it.
Okay, all in
Okay,
favor?
all in favor?
I still have
I still
four.
have four.
We did.
By the way,
By the way,
Thursday night,
Thursday night,
if you're not
if
doing
you're not
anything,
doing anything,
there's a meeting
there's a
on
meeting
the
on the
select board meeting room in here at
is here at
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
We are
We are
going to be on
going to
the
be on
agenda.
Marianne, go back to the letter. The one thing that I made a note of and then I didn't think is that I think Nancy or somebody in their spreadsheet has how much the Spira account has been used. And I think it would be helpful if there is a way to say that, you know, the Spira account has been used 6 times or 4 times in the amount of X or Y, because the expectation is, I think, that there will be a budget request to at least replenish the account, and it would be good for the select board members, including Jane, to have the numbers of how it's been used and how much has been taken out of it.
Great, I have those
I have
numbers.
those
Also,
numbers.
I was wondering, would it make sense to hear to where the issues, they're listed where we've gotten grants, would the amount of money be of interest there?
I mean, I think it would be good to, almost as an addendum, to have a progress report for the select board that says, here's what's happened in terms of the, you know, implementation of the sustainability initiatives over the last 2 years, and this is where things stand, this is where money came from and how much of it came from Spira, etc. I think that would be a good public relations tool, if you will, and would be helpful in a town meeting discussion that says, you know, the town has invested $45,000 and gotten a return of $200,000 on its money, or whatever it is.
Good. We will add that, we have those numbers.
That's all in the first sheet of the spreadsheet. Oh, to my best of my knowledge.
Yeah, and I thought they were on the, actually, I thought they were on the back of my agenda, but I can't find them. But anyhow, good. So I think we're there
on
on this.
We'll
We'll update this letter. make changes, and then this letter will go to the selectmen with an attachment that will have the new action items. In a kind of a readable format, not in any particular, just in text, basically. Similar to what we did the last time. All right. You want to bring anything else up? If not, Mark, I think we're gonna close this shop up.
Sounds good to me.
All right.